then. I hope they never rate this! Well then. Fire in the hole! 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 Fire in the hole!
Okay, so here's the level in the editor. As you can see, I didn't really put much thought into this first part. Just some like glow and area effects. I did keep the missing ground spike. There was no ground spike here. The most difficult thing about making this part was the background. You think, oh well, it's just 1.0 block. Should be easy, right? Well, no, not exactly. Not quite. The reason for that is because this is at like 0.5 scale. I had to build so much of this. I'm not even sure if this is possible, but let's find out. Oh no, it's possible. This is a mess. Oh, moving past that. And that's not possible either. I don't think I was thinking very hard when I made this. Oh, what even is that? I think when I was making this, I was focused more on the getting it done than it being possible. I don't even know why I put in a checkpoint there. What that checkpoint is for. I just felt bored. Oh, that's just a mess. Okay, that's just embarrassing. That's just embarrassing. That was not meant to be there. Moving on. What? What do you? What am I? I think you can tell I was struggling here. I like the game to play to at least. I like it to at least look possible. Right, now I've just gotta go fix that. What did we learn? I'm not very smart. That's what we learned. But the problem is that when I built this, is that can't really use portals. That's why I've got so many pads inside the blocks. Because if you take a portal, right, and you try to put it on a different layer, back to T1. So I couldn't use those because it's a background. So that made things even like more boring. This is pretty bad. Like what was going on in my head? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna move past that. This part was meant to be like centered around gradients. That's why I have these bigger gradient blocks here. Thing is, if you go up here, it kind of ended up being more of a spawn remapping kind of thing. That's how all of these blocks work, by the way. It's just spawn remapping, which is really useful, by the way. I didn't even know that was like a thing until the trailer came out. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet, but I kind of tried to do this thing where like they were like different, but it was the different bases, right? And this part was gonna be like based around the area trigger. This part was gonna be based around the gradient trigger. But that kind of didn't work out because I just used other 2+2 features. Area triggers are basically in like every part of the level. Like I don't think I used them in this part. They weren't in this part, but then I used them in this part, and I used them in this part, and then they were also in this part. Okay, I don't think I used them in this part, but that's like more often than not. This was meant to be the only part centered around the area triggers, and then I used them in like other parts of the level quite extensively. So that kind of fell apart, but I decided to keep the whole thing. I tried to rework the coin here. If I remember correctly, like in the original level, this was just a normal spike. Like it was just 2 of these. I changed it to a half spike to make this coin work. Also, ignore the obnoxiously bright background. That's kind of a bug that Roblox should probably fix. That would be appreciated. You jump in between the spike and the pad. The issue with this is that it's like really hard. I'm glad this wasn't in the original level, because it is like really hard. Like for like the 5th level of the game. See, the whole reason why I made this entire background is for this transition right here. And the idea, right, I'm not sure if I executed this very well, I'm really not sure. But the idea is that you jump from where you currently are to the background and then continue playing the level in the background. I think it works out quite well. I had to use keybinds for this. No, keyframes. But I used keyframes, and that was the only time I've ever used keyframes ever. But it works out pretty well. So moving on to this part, which I've just played, I know it's kind of obnoxiously different to every other part in the level. But the thing is, I've never really been planning to make like a pixel art style level, so I just decided I still wanted to try using it, so I just used it in this part, which is why it's so weird. This is where the second coin is, by the way. Now you might think it at first it's these things, it's to do with these little coins, and you're like, oh, I just pick up all of the coins. Yeah, that is not how you get the coin. How you actually get the coin is pretty different. It's a secret wall. I know this is a concept that has been overlooked there, but there's a little secret wall there, and you play underneath the level. I don't really like coins like this usually, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I hinted at it quite a lot, with these blocks being differently coloured, and also this, if I can find it. Wherever it is, I think here it is. This structure in the background, which hints that you have to go down for the coin. I know that's not the most obvious, but it isn't the only hint, so I think it's fair enough. But I just thought it would be such a cool idea to get the player to play underneath the gameplay. Something weird about this part is that I wanted to establish like this kind of like almost like cramped, condensed temple kind of setting, which was probably a bad idea given how open the original level is. Honestly, this coin probably would have worked a lot better if I'd kept the open feeling that the original had. I've just kind of had to build a bunch of like secret walls for the concept to work. I wouldn't have had to do that if I'd kept like the whole open floating block thing that the original had going. So yeah, it's not the best coin, but I just thought it was a cool idea. Moving on to this part. How this part works is that your game mode is randomized. Like you can see here. We have a ship. That's not the ship. UFO, ship, swing, or wave. Originally, that was kind of the only random thing I had going on here, but this is meant to be a random based part, not an area effects part. We already did that, but for some reason I built another one. I was going for the whole Sub-Zero knock-em power trip kind of thing, but having the blocks empty like it was in those levels, it just didn't look good. But that's not random. So what I did, originally these arts were not randomized. It was those 3 arts, you got those every time. But I added in a feature where the score's eyes would change, the icon would change, and the faces, the little Glagle's expression would change. I kept the go the same because I'm not fitting any other words into a space that small. So that's just the same every time. And then I added in the fun fact generator. There's like 10 different fun facts you can get, and you don't really have much time to read them. But trust me, I had to change some of the facts. They were just too long. So before you complain, this is I tried. Okay, I did my best. Then the 5th part. This was meant to be a combination of the spider orb and pad feature, except I might just use spider pads, and the arrow trigger feature. So this makes this part like a lot harder, but I don't know, it's learnable. I was kind of going for like an audio visual kind of style here. I think it turned out pretty well. I'm really sorry, I used one of the tips from the Wabi video. I just thought it would be funny, and it actually ended up looking good, so I kept it. By this point, I just worked like way too long on this level compared to what I should have done for what it is. That's why this part might look a bit rushed, and the next one as well. I really struggled with this part. I struggled to get it right, but I'm pretty happy with what I got in the end. It definitely wasn't perfect though. I just wanted to be done with this level, I'm gonna be honest. I had enough. Yeah, this is the 3rd coin. What it was originally, this was a bit different. You just hop on over these onto like a different platform here, but it was a pretty easy timing, and the coin had to be placed like somewhere awkward here so that you couldn't just jump over and get it from the other platform. So I ended up changing it pretty last minute. It's now down here. You have to jump over these pads to get the coin, but that's a pretty tight timing. Again, it's a lot harder than the original level would really need, but it's fun. It's an interesting idea, and I think it kind of makes interesting use of the gimmick I had going on here, so I'm pretty happy with that coin. And then moving on to the last part, again, this part was kind of rushed. I just wanted to be done with the level, but I think it came out pretty well. I was going for like the roll top, kind of like 2.0 GD world kind of thing, I mean, it's one of the most exciting part ever. I built the end screen before I did the part, weirdly enough. I was just messing. Ignore that. Weird stuff happens when you don't put the star pods on the right channel. But yeah, I got the idea for this end screen. I was just messing around with like random shaders because this was meant to be a shader based part. I only ended up really using the pinch. I haven't really ever put much effort into an end screen before. The thing is with end screens is that by the time I get to making them, I just want to have the level out, so I put 0 effort into them. But I decided to do a little bit of something for this one, just because I liked the way it was going with the whole shock line thing, so that kind of motivated me to put a bit more effort into it.
I hope they never rate this!
I very much hope they do rate this. Robson must have like personally commissioned this random guy 01, because there's like GD specific stuff here.
What trigger was that? I hate this creator! Invisible blocks!
He says it so aggressively, it's so funny. See, it's all GD specific. What? No, I don't want to use that.
Invisible blocks!
It's not even playing. What even is this stuff? Right. I'm gonna go back. Forget that. Back to the point I was making. These are all like GD specific. I don't know who made these, but they're funny. They're just so goofy. See,
kind of
it's
demon
all
is this?
related to GD. I don't know who made these, But yeah, I just wanted to put one of those into the level. I just stumbled across it one day. I thought it would be funny. Overall, this is like not my best work. It's fine. It's okay. It's not the best. For how long it took me, it's not great. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. Hopefully I'll be able to build a bit faster in future. Now I've got to grips with all of the 2.2 features pretty much. Hopefully it'll be a bit better, because I have some good ideas for future projects in mind. But also, you know, I want to be able to get out levels a bit more regularly. I think after this, I'm just gonna do some like smaller projects. I don't really want to do anything. I kind of just want to make like a level or two that I just spend like a month max on. Hopefully in the future I will be able to put out something a bit better. But I'm happy with this as a first 2.2 level. I think it turned out pretty well.